Slayer. I first witnessed these creatures jumping out of the ground itself. Their heads were detached from their torsos, held aloft by hideous contraptions. Their limbs have been replaced by blades of the sharpest steel. To my eyes, they appear to be a manifestation of decapitation. Yet it seems improbable anyone ever had their head chopped off an abbot. I suppose incarnate anything is possible. I have dubbed these monstrosities slayers. Marksman. Based on the battery of rifles attached to its back and the blindfold around its head,
Like how?
this marksman appears to be the reincarnation of a military firing squad. Abbott was originally a POW camp during World War II, so it seems likely they would have had executions of that sort. Indeed, there are stories of a rogue colonel who was to be court-martialed but instead took his own life. Perhaps he is connected to these abominations.
It's like Bang if he mounted a freaking minigun on his back.
Mainliner.
Need bitches.
In the 1970s, lethal injection was introduced as the most humane means of state-sanctioned killing. To date, 25 such procedures have taken place in Abbott. This creature, I call him the Mainliner, appears to suffer with every move he makes. Perhaps the mixture of sodium pentothal, pancuronium bromide, and potassium chloride in his veins is not to his liking.
Don't get any ideas.
The numerous needles jabbed into his body cannot help his disposition. Noose Man. Not only is this Noose Man dead from being hung by the neck, but he also appears to have had his skin removed. I wonder if these creatures are tied to the legendary story of the inmates who, outraged by the death of fellow workers in a quarry mining accident, hung and skinned 5 COs. The Noose Men are more supernatural than many of their brethren, ripping themselves straight out of the ceiling in some entirely impossible manner.
Newsman.
Burrower.
I
These
freaking hate them.
burrowers are some of the most lethal creatures I have encountered, primarily due to their ability to spring forth from the ground itself and just as quickly resubmerge. They're closely tied to the very soil of Carnate, a theme among these monstrosities. Its appearance is of a human body tied up in a gunny sack and constrained by leather straps, with deadly steel chains attached at various locations.
Jeez.
I believe they represent those buried alive.
Buried alive.
Fester. Continually emerging from the slave ship. These are the festering creatures who foil my attempts to escape this confounded rock. Rats live within their flesh, writhing within it and then springing forth randomly.
That's why they be running out.
They appear to be a reincarnation, not of the slaves, for then they would be of darker skin tone, but instead of the slave traders. In this form, they are forced to live out again and again the fate they forced upon those hapless slaves.
And they full of rats. That's pretty crazy.
Dr. Killjoy. One of Abbott's most persistent legends tells of Dr. Killjoy, a quite insane psychiatrist surgeon who ran an asylum on Carnate. Doing research of my own, I found that he did indeed exist, though which stories are true and which are fabrication is anyone's guess. Since the cataclysm, I have 3 times seen a surgeon formed of pure light, reminiscent of 16mm film projection come to life. Could this be the fine doctor?
Boy, Dr. Killjoy.
Horace.
But
Many inmates break once inside Abbott,
We just saved.
but none have snapped more extremely than Horace Gage, who, the tale goes, became convinced his wife wasn't safe without his protection, and sliced her to ribbons during a conjugal visit. He ended up in the mercy chair, electrocuted by Abbott's then executioner Hermes Haight. For years, inmates have said he haunts Abbott, and I believe I saw him 10 minutes ago. I surely wish I had not.
I thought it was Hermes, the little designer brand with the H. But it's Hermes. Now what about me? Well, torque.